And welcome to the fourth episode of City Superworlds. Thanks everyone again for liking and subscribing. A few issues emerged at the end of the third episode, in particular what we thought we had fixed some of the power issues, water and pollution, but then more of those issues kind of arrived. So we're going to try and once again try and deal with this pollution. Backed up sewer, yeah, this is sometimes an issue in this game. The sewers, you do need to have a good amount of sewers, so we're going to create one straight away, same as before. You can of course also have water towers if you decide to go down that route. I'm going to create a sewer and we're going to have a new line. If there's an issue with the previous sewer, it might be better to just start with a new line potentially. It's got quite a distance to travel, and we're also going to do some more zoning just at the same time. But in order to do some zoning, we're going to need to lay down some more roads. So we're going to continue on with the roads that we'd started before. There was quite a number that we kind of started, and this was one of the road types, big avenue we're using, and I think we're just going to extend the avenue out a little bit longer, a little bit further to kind of give our city even more scope. This is going to be one hell of a big town. You can see the roundabout that's been developed there. A couple of the buildings just being demolished in the background. That's okay, they only just arrived and they're not that important anyway, so don't be afraid of any buildings do collapse unless you really want to keep one of the buildings. It shouldn't really be an issue. They'll regrow themselves. We're going to increase the width of this road as well, just nice wide roads across either side, and we'll extend this on to the lane that's connecting our water treatment plant and large advanced water pumping station. And you can see that because they weren't really connected, that was part of the reason that we're not getting more out of those. And of course we need to, so we're going to have to just make sure that we take a good look at any of the buildings that are not doing what they need to be doing at this point. I think we'll run a highway over the top of some of this area, just so there's an area, a connecting zone for the citizens to be able to travel between areas of the city a little bit quicker and a little bit easier, particularly this direction. And in order to do that, to make it a success, we'll have to just make sure it's elevated. Like this, yeah. Exactly what I'm looking. Overlapping items, you can see there's a problem. You might just need to cut back a touch just to make sure that you're not going over, that you're going over an area successfully. Same with power cables, you're going to have to potentially change your elevation step if there's an electricity cable nearby and you don't want to try and avoid it like I'm trying to do. And we can come back to the rest of that later. It looks pretty good. It's not exactly straight, but it's pretty close. I'm happy enough with it. And that area that we'd started, we'll just go back and connect with some connections either side to allow the traffic to move from one area to the next. And you can see how good that looks once you kind of make those connections. And I'm using just I'm just using a standard 2-lane road, and you could even go with a 1 lane if you wanted for any of those connections. Those look very good, and they'll connect the city, and it'll allow again the citizens to move between areas of the city at great speed. Run underneath another big road connected here. I'm not that happy with the way that this is now kind of changing a little bit, but for the time being, I think we can kind of put up with that. It's not that bad. Just I wasn't too happy because the water treatment plant, the other building, the traffic flow might be quite extreme later on when the citizens start to move in. Again, we haven't got a single citizen yet, so we're going to hopefully get some stage in this episode. There are more outside connections now than there have been though, so that's a huge plus. Okay, I'm just going to connect some area here. Another new commercial zone, sounds good. And some mixed as well. Yeah, I'm liking where this is going. Medium density, of course, don't forget medium density. We begin to see more buildings come up. As more buildings come up though, it is time, I think, for us to just very quickly look at police service, city services. We need to build some more city services. We'll need another fire station, I think. Fire station, we're gonna put, we want it pretty close to the industrial sector if we can have it, because it just makes it a bit easier for it to access. Everything. We're gonna have a big build. We're gonna have a high school. We're gonna position the high school here, and we're gonna go for mini elementary school as well, very nearby, very close by. Just there, we can afford some of the homes not to actually grow up. And another hospital in this area of the city as well. Communication services is very important in City Skylines too, and that's something that I would encourage everyone to use. And it's an option that you can very easily overlook. The 3 dots and communications. We're gonna have some post offices, so it is important to have at least some of these. Post office number 1, we're going to put down, I think here, looks like it would be a good place. Yeah. We're going to have one at the other opposite side of the city as well. Two post offices. Postal sorting facility, we'll come back to that later. I think it's a very big building, difficult to fit in. Server farm, very useful for having fiber optic internet, etc. So I'm going to just put that sort of on the outskirts, but not quite. This is a tricky one. I'm trying to figure out the best location for it. Yeah, just here. No power, we'll be getting to it at the moment, so we're going to have to create a road very quickly. That wasn't a bad location to put it though. It looks like it's out of the way, maybe too much to some people, but I like it being out of the way in this case. That's what we're really looking for, so it's not taking up too much space. Slope is too steep across a couple of areas there, so we might have to just increase elevation here to get this to work okay. A little bit too close to the edge, so just some trial and error needed. Some of the buildings just to make sure that they're okay. Again, not quite able to get that right, so we'll keep working on it though, and we'll get there eventually. Now with the elevation step again, just to reconnect. Yep, looks good. Even there you can see that the slope is quite bad. In fact, it's too much. You can see that little ridge, that little ramp there. That means it's too much, and the slope is too dangerous. So we're going to just cut that off, and we'll come back to the server farm later. I think it not something we need to worry about too much. We'll put a radio tower up. These are just little extras as well for the moment. I don't think anyone needs to worry too much if you forget any of these. To have any of these. You see telecom tower, which is useful for media broadcasts, of course, and this would be something you would want to maybe have sort of central if you can in your city. So we'll put it there. And we'll zone for a little bit more on this side of the city as well, just while we're flipping around this side. A new commercial zone, I think, is exactly what we're looking. And mixed commercial to residential. Moving out just a touch, we're going to go with medium across here, and then low rent here. Going well with the zones. Industrial zoning on this side of the city. Yep, I think it's the right time to introduce some more industrial zoning. And if you have your own strategy or goals in mind with where you want to lay down some of the zones, feel free to do that, of course. It is a trial and error, it is personal preference, what way you want to go with those. Definitely think there's definitely room for an alley the whole way across here, and that will make it a lot easier for more zones by doing that. So and again, the same thing in the middle of this one. Exactly the same as before. And let's take a look and see what happens next. So anything else? Sorry, yeah, police headquarters. I should have mentioned that's another building I really want to add. Probably an outskirts building again, I think. There's a nice little gap there. I wonder if we can maybe squeeze it in. Not quite, it's a little bit too close, a little bit too tight. We'll maybe just go with standard station for the moment, just so there is some police presence in the city. We're quite far, it's the only police station we've actually got laid down at the moment, so speeding up simulation speed just a little bit to increase building rates. We're going to go back to the zoning again. We're going to zone for just low density office. Where will we put it? I think around here will be fine, yep. And then some more medium density, some more commercial, I think. More commercial. We're going to go back to commercial. You do need a good variety, a good spread. There's not much low density commercial at the moment. We're going to maybe go a little bit further out to get to low density commercial. We're almost probably at that stage. Maybe we'll put in one zone here, just one or two zones to see how that looks. Going back to standard low density in this block, definitely. And probably the same across here as well. Maybe we could, yeah, same here again, I think. Go back to mixed, I think. Mixed zoning. Okay, that's another good increase. Let's take a look and see how those buildings come up now. Again, so no citizens just yet. Probably we're going to make sure the outside road connections are okay. They may not be at the moment, so there's definitely a real connection. And there is a connection there. We just really haven't legitimately got any citizens yet so far. Really hard is constructed, but the problem with it is oh, there's a connection, two connections actually that are missing from the train station. I didn't even notice that. Just fix those. So you might have noticed that, didn't even see that. Oh, and that's an example of a connection that hasn't worked. Those icons, connection that hasn't worked. So that's no good. we're gonna have to redo that little section we just created. That's not gonna work out. It's gonna be very bad, in fact. Yeah, much better. We're actually going to cut in a little bit into the the residential area. It's not that important again if we lose some of those buildings. Just starting up our city with new citizens. I was just taking a look to see what we're going to do. We might just put down... I think we'll zone for more commercial here again. Commercial area. Two or three more zones of commercial, and we're going to zone for industrial right behind it. This industrial zone is, we're just kind of moving towards the power plant a little bit in the industrial area. Okay, yep. And mixed here again. Mixed and medium. Mixed and medium this area. A little bit of both. And an alley just to separate, just so we can get ourselves more building space. Another zone, and we'll put down some low density office in these two zones. Should see quite a few more buildings start to come up now yet again. Yep, you can really see the city is now starting to take shape. We just need to get some citizens into this city at some stage soon. There's some really good zoning that's been happening at the moment. I'm very happy with the progress overall of this. One of the tram lines is not fully built yet. I think we kind of stopped at a certain point. One of the earlier episodes. I might go back and finish the tram line now, actually, just to make sure there's a connection. I think it's a good time to maybe do that. So, pretty sure this is two-way tram line. Just double check it. Yes, it is. Yep. I haven't even got the trams working in my other city either, so it is going to. It'll take time to build your town. Really, that's the biggest one of the biggest messages that you could. One of the biggest takeaways with all of this. This is going to be one hell of a long one. The whole way across here. It's a really long tram line. I'm not even sure if the trams should be running this far, to be honest, but we'll just do this now, and we can get rid of it later. It's not going to take us very long to get rid of it if we need to. I'm hoping I've connected that okay. Oh, a little bit close. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do a little bit of terraforming here, because it just makes it a bit easier for us if we change some terraforming again. We're going back, we're lowering the ground just a little bit in this area here, just at the bottom of the mountain, not by a lot, just a little small amount, and we're going to just even it up just a little bit. Might look a little bit strange, but this might make it a bit easier just to get a connection to the outside of the tram line, which is what we've been looking. Since we started this tram line, we're looking to just try and really move it, if we can, to the outside of the map. Invalid shape must be very close. Well, we can come back to that later. I don't think it's a big deal. It may be, you know what, we'll just finish it. Might as well come this far. We'll have to make some more changes. I think we're going to have to just drop it down. We'll have to make a few more adjustments, because we need a little bit of space to just move it into the lower part of the valley. It looks like it's not going to work easily. going down the valley, so you can see it's probably elevated there. Yeah, it is. Okay, that looks okay. It looks like it's moving okay now. I'm gonna drop the elevation at this point. Hope that it works okay. No, it's not really working as well as I would have wanted. It's proven to be difficult. We might have to go. We might have to move back even further, by quite a distance. Laying down train track, real tram track. It is useful to do it, like I said at the start, but it can be tedious. It can be a little bit frustrating sometimes when you're working off this track just to get 100% right with the slopes and everything that may exist in your towns. And say, and that's what maybe doing this mountain map has actually been a really good idea to show just how difficult sometimes it can be to get certain track to actually work. You can see the slope there even is. Whoa, real big time glitch there. Just having a bit of difficulty just getting this to work. Even if we can kind of get it relatively close to the other one, that would be good enough for me. Just for the time being. Connection there, it hasn't. It may be that you can't connect tram tracks, so that is a possibility as well that I didn't really think about. Learning about this whole time, of course, and it's possible that the tram track maybe isn't connectable the same way a train track would be, so potentially maybe that's as far as we can go with the tram, in that direction. It isn't something that usually would go out of a city anyway, so that would make sense. Oh, this is looking a bit difficult. I might need to just move this in a little bit just to make it a bit easier. Laying down a tram track is not the easiest thing in the world to do, and certainly not the most fun thing in the world to do either. It's a little bit tedious at times. And we'll zone up in the middle there as well. Yeah, we'll go with a two-way, one-way road. Yeah, we'll try a couple of those just to see how they look. We don't have too many of them in our city, so we'll mix it up a little bit. We'll go with the other direction then as well. But really, kind of just to give our city just something a little bit different there in that area, just so that there is plenty of traffic issues. Then that could be a road that really is very useful later. With the congestion problems that might come up. And we'll maybe put a road, we'll put an alley, I think, down. The center. And we'll put another alley just on the outskirts of the industrial area. I wonder, will they even go through the industrial area? I think I will. Please note, there are going to be some buildings destroyed here in a second. Yeah. I think that pretty much had to happen just to make it a little bit easier to connect these zones. I'm going to make more industrial area here as well. Having a really solid industrial heart of the city. Gonna go medium for these next two. Next two are free. Perfect. Keep zoning, keep zoning. Some more commercial there as well. Quite a lot of new zones going in here right in the middle of the city. You can see that we don't really have as many big skyscrapers as I would like. I'm going to make some changes pretty soon, but I'm going to just leave it as it is for the moment in this episode anyway, and we're going to connect the zones together that are both right and left. So this area here being the left area, this one here next to the power plant with some pollution and water issues, the industrial area will keep separate. We're going to connect them both together. We're going to need just a little bit more road, I think, to make it so we can zone more areas. And alleys are really useful for this, of course. Very useful tool. They're small thin roads that traffic can go down, and that allows creators. The road options in this game are absolutely fantastic. I think are really good. I would say probably the best road option, the creation of the roundabout, probably the best road. And I knew this going into this game that this was going to be a good game for roads, just from the previews. It still has issues in other departments, of course, but this game it has got the roads nailed down perfectly. Quite a few roads removed there. The university, so the high school, we're going to just go right round the high school with an avenue, a lane as well. And this will definitely help us connect the high school to the rest of our city. Very important building, high school, to have different educational levels. You really want to have all education for all ages. We are going to construct a university at some stage as well. Maybe not this episode, but a future episode. And dragging this across another alley. And we'll want one more road. We'll have one more alley in between. Yep. I think so. Maybe two more. There's another area there I've just noticed just before I move on. Could be also a road because there's a gap there. Any gaps you see are chances to try and do something. We'll maybe add a park at this stage as well. I think we'll just add a large park just to kind of give citizens park maintenance depot would be a good building to put in. But we're going to try and go for a large park first. Large city park. It looks like the one I'm looking for. Yeah. We're going to put it both sides in that area, both areas, and we're going to lay down some tennis courts as well, I think. I'm going to have a row of, I think, 4 of them, and that will greatly help with the citizens. We're going to lay down more parks later, but it's a good start. Okay, the power issues have finally been sorted. There's a water problem across the city and the other side of the city, so that makes me think we're going to need to go back and deal with more water issues. We might need to put in a new pumping station. We're going to put in 2 of them, I think. And we're going to put in a new sewer as well. We're going to just go as much as we can do to try and resolve some of the water and pollution issues on the other side of the city, just so that they're not causing any trouble going forward either. Good connection there, just make sure it's definitely connected. Same with the water connections. we're going to go for double connection. It looks like we can only have one advanced water pumping station, which would be more ideal. I would have preferred if we could have had more advanced water pumping stations, honestly, but it doesn't look like the game is going to allow us to do that, so that's one slight limitation we're going to have to put up with. And we're going to connect to the city just here. Good connections there. It looks like it's working out okay. Maybe we will just zone here as well. I think we could probably go low density, and then we'll maybe go with a different type of commercial. A beach shoreline commercial line, very low. So we just use a couple of different ones just to mix it up a little bit. A couple of different zonings, and that looks good. There's a couple of issues that are developing, but it's more or less in a good place. No citizens yet. Eventually we'll get there. I'm hoping there'll be some citizens. We'll have to take a look at outside connections again, but it's a very solid start to making a city. And once again, thank you everyone for watching, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you all again in the next episode of City Superworlds.